All right, let's talk about it. AI and software testing. It's the topic on everyone's lips, right? It promises to get rid of all that tedious work, make everything faster, smarter, the whole deal. But what's really going on behind all those buzzwords? Let's cut through the noise and separate the hype from what's actually happening on the ground. I mean, if you've ever worked in software, this quote, wow, it just hits you, right? It's that feeling. Hours and hours spent writing these brittle scripts, waiting forever for tests to run, and then spending even more time debugging these cryptic errors that have nothing to do with your code and everything to do with a flaky test. It perfectly captures that cycle of frustration. And this right here, this just lays it all out. It's the classic what we have versus what we want. On one side, you've got the old way, high maintenance, brittle, slow, and you basically need to be a coding wizard to do it. And on the other side, that's the dream, isn't it? Resilient, adaptive, fast, intelligent, something the entire team can get involved in. That's the goal. So, of course, into this massive gap between the frustrating reality and the dream steps a hero. Or at least that's the promise. We're talking about AI. The pitch is so simple, so seductive. AI is here to solve all those problems we've been complaining about for decades and finally give us the testing future we've been dreaming of. But here's the key thing to get. AI isn't just about taking our old automation scripts and running them faster. No. This is a fundamentally different way of thinking. We're talking about things that sound like science fiction, right? Tests that can literally heal themselves when the user interface changes, generating tests just by writing a sentence in plain English. An AI that's smart enough to analyze your app and tell you where bugs are probably hiding. It's a whole new ballgame. Okay, so how does this actually work in practice? Let's break it down. First, you've got self-healing tests. These are designed to tackle that brittleness problem head-on. A button moves, the AI figures it out. No more broken tests. Second, creating tests gets way faster. You can literally just write, check that the user can log in, and it generates the test. Third, it boosts your coverage. The AI can look at how real people are using your app and say, hey, you've never tested this user journey. And finally, smarter debugging. When a test does fail, instead of some cryptic error log, you get a clear visual analysis of what went wrong. Pretty cool, right? And look, this isn't just theoretical stuff. We're seeing some absolutely staggering real-world results. Take Netflix. They're using AI for anomaly detection in real time. And get this, they reported a 35% reduction in service disruptions. I mean, think about that. That's a huge, direct impact on their customers. Or how about GitLab? They've baked AI right into their CI/CD pipeline. Its job is to spot performance problems before they become, well, problems. And the result? They're pushing out new code 25% faster. That's a massive competitive advantage. And one more, Amazon Web Services. They're using AI for dynamic benchmarking, and it's led to a 40% jump in processing efficiency. So the takeaway here is pretty clear, right? The potential for AI in this space isn't just big, it's absolutely enormous. Okay, hold on. So with numbers like that, Netflix, GitLab, AWS, you'd think every single software company on Earth would be all over this, right? It seems like a no-brainer. Well, this is where the story gets really interesting. And maybe a little surprising. I mean, it's the obvious question, isn't it? If this stuff is so great, if it's faster, smarter, and we have proof that it works, then why isn't everyone using it? What's the holdup? And the answer, as it turns out, is a lot more complicated than you might expect. And this chart right here really tells the story. Take a look. A whopping 75% of teams say they're interested in AI for testing. 75%. But how many have actually fully adopted it? Just 16%. That is a massive gap between interest and reality. So what is going on? Well, a recent study from a couple of researchers, Karhu and Kasarinen, really hits the nail on the head. They found that one of the biggest barriers is a lack of perceived usefulness. In plain English, teams are trying this stuff out and they're just not seeing the value. All that incredible promise we just talked about, it's not showing up in their day-to-day work. Okay, so let's dig into that. Why? Why is that value so hard to find? It turns out there are some very real and very practical roadblocks that pop up the moment teams actually try to put these AI tools into practice. And it's not just one thing, it's a whole bunch of things. First off, there's a big skills gap. Your average QA team is full of testing experts, not AI and data science experts. Then there's the cost. These tools and the training that comes with them can be seriously expensive. And AI is only as smart as the data you feed it, which is often a total mess. Trying to jam these new tools into old, complicated systems, that's a nightmare. And then you get to the really tricky stuff, the people problems, a deep lack of trust in the AI, and just that good old-fashioned resistance to doing things a new way. Let's double-click on that trust issue, because it's a huge one. It's what people call the black box problem. Imagine this. The AI says a test passed, or it flagged a bug, and you ask, why? And the AI basically just shrugs. You can't see its reasoning. You can't see how it made that decision. And if you can't understand the why, how can you possibly trust the results? It kind of defeats the whole purpose. So you see, the really crucial takeaway here is that this isn't a technology problem. You can't just buy a shiny new AI tool and expect magic to happen. The real hurdles, the biggest ones, are about people, process, and strategy. It's about fundamentally changing how we work. So where does that leave us? Is this all just a bunch of hype? Well, no, not at all. The power is real, but maybe we've been looking at it all wrong. The future, it seems, isn't about AI replacing humans. It's about creating something new, a true human-AI team. And this chart shows that mental shift perfectly. The early hype was all about AI as a replacement, a machine that would automate everything and make human testers obsolete. But the reality and the path forward is to think of AI as a co-pilot. It's there to augment our skills, not replace them. It takes over all the boring, repetitive grunt work, which frees up the humans to focus on the things we're great at: strategy, creative problem solving, and critical thinking. And what's so cool about this model is that the QA role doesn't go away. It actually gets a major upgrade. You're not just a script trader anymore. You're a quality strategist, thinking about the big picture. You're the user's advocate, making sure the human experience is front and center. And in a way, you become an AI supervisor. You're the one training, guiding, and making your AI co-pilot better. And you know what? The technology is already evolving to support this idea. The next big thing is something called agentic AI. Think of these as autonomous partners. They don't just wait for you to tell them what to test. They proactively help you plan your strategy. They go off and do exploratory testing on their own, and they find weird edge cases you never would have thought of. So that's where we'll end it. The change is absolutely coming. That's not even a question anymore. The real question, the one we all have to answer, isn't about the technology. It's about us. How are we, as testers, as developers, as leaders, going to evolve? How will we adapt our skills, our processes, and our entire way of thinking to work with these incredibly powerful new partners?